Hi, my name is Steve Ann Smith, and I am your host for My Little Podcast. My Little Podcast is an interview-based podcast that explores the world of creatives through intimate and thoughtful conversations that seek to inspire and spark discovery through artistic curiosity. This show is for the community of artists, musicians, podcasters, journalists, authors, and content creators that find their purpose through art. We are all interconnected by our love for things we see beyond ourselves. This is my way of sharing our gifts with a larger audience in hopes of contributing to a future that sees life through joy, celebration, and prosperity. Allow us to share your story. Subscribe to My Little Podcast wherever you enjoy podcast listening. Welcome to Hip Hop Now Podcast. If you're from the future, you know what to do. Get your ass out of here. Don't disrespect the legend. Hip Hop is here to stay. Let's get right into the business.
What up, y'all? I am your host, Vegas, and this is Hip Hop Now Podcast, a podcast specifically designed to keep you caught up on all things hip-hop music and culture that happened throughout the week. Big shout out to the peoples that support over at patreon.com/hiphopnow. No, you are not paying my mortgage, but you are contributing to make this podcast better. So if you enjoy the content I produce and you support by listening and watching, and that's all good too. But you can also support in other ways by helping me get the equipment to basically give you a better program. So if you want to see a better program as far as presentation, or even see me bring on a producer, because I produce everything, visit patreon.com/hiphopnow. And if that was too quick for you to jot down or type in your phone, the link is in the description of this episode. Now, before we get started, I just want to say salute to everybody that joined me on reviewing Wu-Tang and American Saga episode by episode. It's been dope. I've loved the reaction. It's been dope to not only watch this season, because I've been watching them anyway, but to also, find out a little bit more about others who enjoy this series, who are big fans of Wu-Tang, whether you be new fans or fans from day one, and just to learn not only about the group, but about fans like you and me. So let me go through and just say a quick shout out to Javon Johnson, my brother Henry Hall, Kill AA9, Nika Watkins, E Major, Eddie, and the homie Ak. Now, if I left somebody out, please forgive me, because I didn't plan to do that, but I did. But public service announcement, the final episode has aired. I've watched it. Hopefully you've watched it. Of course, I'm going to do another review, but this is going to be special. So I'm saying this now, because if you're from the future and you listen to this podcast, you probably already missed it live. You can always watch the recording. But Saturday, Easter Saturday, let's see what date is it. Saturday, April 8th at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is tonight for some of y'all watching this live on my YouTube channel right now. I will do a live stream, and probably the first, maybe not the first, live stream I've ever done, but the first live stream for Hip Hop Now podcast in particular, where I am going to review it live, and my guest will be you. So Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. I'll be streaming on all those platforms. So I say to you, it's in your best interest as a fan of the show to chime in, have a discussion in the chat, hear what I have to say. I'm going to talk to you guys as well. And we're just going to chat about it a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So again, whether you watch on YouTube, follow me on YouTube, or subscribe to YouTube, on Twitter or Facebook, maybe Twitch, maybe not. But definitely YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter are going to stream live a Wu-Tang series finale review with you, bars, live 4 p.m. this Saturday, April 8th, Eastern Standard Time. So check that out because it's going to be dope. And the link is in the description of this episode, so don't worry. Big shout out to hiphopdx.com, allhiphop.com, XXL Mag, Source Magazine, and a couple other places where I'm getting some of these stories from. Let's start right at the top. So apparently, back in the days when Biggie passed away, Diddy put out 2 songs, right, in memory of Biggie, and it was pretty quick. I almost feel like it was the following week when these songs came out. But one was We'll Always Love You, Big Papa, and the other song, from which, let's not forget, Source Money wrote, I'll Be Missing You. Now, this song is notorious, no pun intended, for basically having I won't even say the sample, I guess it's a sample, but the beat to a very popular song by the artist Sting. If you don't know, Google him, discover the music on social media, streaming services, whatever, all of that. Well, apparently Diddy never cleared the sample, and therefore it was rumored at one point that he was paying Sting $2,000 a day for that sample. He did not own the rights to that song. Anybody who wrote the song, Source Money, who wrote the lyrics to this Biggie version or Biggie tribute version, nobody sees a dime from that song except for Sting, which is a terrible thing to think about it when you think about the whole creative process behind it, right? Biggie just passed. They go and do these songs. This is Puff's song dedicated to Big. Source Money helps him out, and Diddy pays Sting, I guess, for life at this point in time. Let's get a little fit axe from the Fido. This is how I'm feeling, y'all. This is on hiphopdx.com. Diddy has come clean about the supposed $5,000 per day he pays Sting for sampling The Police, that's the group that Sting was in, on the 1997 Biggie tribute, I'll Be Missing You. Explaining that it's not actually true, it comes after many outlets picked up a previous tweet from the Bad Boy mogul where he disclosed the alleged figure he gives the British rocker. The plot thickens. This is what Diddy said from his Twitter, because I'm not going to read all of this. You just go and check it out. I want y'all to understand I was joking. It's called being fictitious. Okay, me and Sting have been friends for a long time. He never charged me $3K or $5K a day for missing you. He probably makes more than $5K a day from one of his biggest songs in history, Love. Now, this is the thing. Diddy said something different a while ago. The resurfaced clip crossed Diddy's desk earlier this week, and he threw more fuel on the fire by adding that Sting's fee was bumped up to additional $3,000, but wasn't better. Nope, $5K a day. So that's what he said. So apparently, whether this is true or not, whether it's out there or not, I could see both sides, right? Because again, that song came out really quick after Big died. It was like, it might have been that week Like if Big was killed Saturday night, I feel like by the end of the week, we had two tribute songs, we had video, everything, which is kind of suspicious. But nevertheless, I don't know if you can get a sample cleared that quick. I don't know. I don't work in the record industry, but even if you could, apparently it seemed like he didn't. And why would this rumor last for so long, right? Now, I could see the payments going through and maybe Sting feels some kind of way about people knowing that for this kind of record, his people are charging them, right? But business is business. This is no shame or shade on Biggie's memory because you're charging these dudes for or Diddy or whoever for using your sample. I mean, it is what it is. He's using it, you charge him. I mean, it's really, to me, it's pretty simple when you think about it. So at the end of the day, who cares? I don't see a dime of it. I don't pay any of it, but I do feel a little bit bad about Source Money, who should receive some kind of compensation going forward, but who knows, man? Who knows? Next, Joe Budden was named the #1 hip-hop media personality. Let me get a good look at this. Let me see. This is how it happened. Joe Budden was being ranked as Complex's #1 hip-hop media personality, which is pretty crazy. Now, we know Complex doesn't have the best track record for knowing hip-hop, right? Now, Rolling Stones kind of got him beat. I will say that. Their Complex little list is much better than what Rolling Stones does, but regardless, both are trash. Now, I don't know if this is wrong. What do you think? Do you watch or listen to Joe Budden's podcast? I think Joe Budden should be #1 until someone officially dethrones him. You know how I could tell he's #1? Because when he does something or says something or has an opinion on something, no matter what it is, just keeping it hip hop, next to like Nori or Math Hoffa or whatever other hip hop podcast, Rory and them, Charlemagne and them, right? It seems like when Joe Budden says something or has an opinion on someone, Logic, it becomes a thing. It trends, especially if it's controversial. And I just think it's dope because he's uniquely him. See, Nori is uniquely him, but I don't think people take Nori that serious, right? Because Nori doesn't take Nori that serious. He tells a lot of jokes. Don't get me wrong, I like it. I think he gets a lot of great guests. But there's something to what Joe Budden does that's different. Some people like, what he says and does on his podcast. Honestly, I stopped listening a long time ago because after a while, for me personally, I get tired of the shtick. The shtick isn't a shtick for him. It's him, but maybe I'm just tired of him. Honestly, maybe I just want him to rap again, just an album or two or something because he's really dope. Don't sleep. But I think he is, because I think as a host, he's more polished than most of those guys I named, right? He's earned it because he's one of the earlier cats on the internet to have a show, to have a presence, to be an influencer. He is the OG of what you see everybody else doing, whether you're a rapper or not. He was doing reality TV for the internet when most weren't, except for that one dude. What's his name? Charles Hamilton. He was kind of around that time, but then that shorty punched him in the face, and that was the end of him. But you know what I mean? It's difficult to debate Now, he may not be a person's preference as far as hip hop personalities go, but you cannot deny the influence when he has something to say about something, right? And again, it's not just, oh, well, Cam is a better personality than him. I agree. But Joe Budden is a more polished personality. He's a more polished host, right? He balances being a host on the mic with his own personality, which can be very entertaining. And I think it's great. So it is what it is. Big shout out to Zip the Drip. I mean, I know he's not a hip hop personality. It's more like hood news, but that dude is funny. He's really funny. Like, I can't stop watching him. So when he get off parole, yeah, I said that. Hopefully he stays out of trouble and somebody give him a bag and get some producers around him to make it right. But his personality is just he's really funny. So there you have it. But yeah, Joe Budden, he's number one. I don't like Complex, but he is. And lastly, now I don't know where this is coming from, so I gotta look it up. But I've seen it at a couple outlets, basically saying that Drake disputes that Scorpion, one of his albums, if you don't know, is his worst album. And let's see what Drake had to say, because he does not agree with that assessment. Podcasters also debated his worst album, throwing out Scorpion as a contender, but praised God's Plan and Nights for What. But that's what makes it his worst album. Those are the standouts. After that, you don't remember anything. I mean, he got Michael Jackson on there, and the album's trash. Did I just say that? I did. So let's see what he said. Drake says he has many slappers on there. If that's not the most pause-worthy, and I don't even like to use it, but whatever. We know it's when something slaps. We know what it means. He starts naming them. God's Plan, In My Feelings, Nights for What, Nonstop, Jaded, Is There More, Sandra's Rose, That's How You Feel, and That's How You Feel, Emotionalist, Slaps on Scorpion, he wrote. So he basically went down a list of songs on his Twitter, which is Champagne Poppy. Yes, he has a blue check. But let me give you my opinion. So I am admittedly, and not even shy about it, because it's not a guilty pleasure, I am a fan of Drake's music. I lean a little bit more towards when he doesn't do hip hop. Not that I dislike his hip hop, because that's not the case at all. But I just prefer when he sings and makes other records, because I like the production. I like the ideas for the most part. So I have probably most of his albums and a couple of mixtapes. And Scorpion is one I do not have. And it's because I pressed play and I was like, this might be the first Drake album I just do not really like at all. Like, there's not enough on here that I like. I didn't like God's Plan when it came out. I think it grew on me over time, but I'm telling you, it grew on me like over the course of a couple of years. I just started liking it in 2021. Nights for What, instantly liked it. Dope record. There may be one other song on there I like, but for the most part, that album was really forgettable to me. But why am I talking about somebody who I prefer the singing of on a hip hop joint? Well, because a hip hop podcast, you know what I mean. Mainly because, this was supposed to be the closest to him having a rap album, probably since his debut. This was the closest to him having a rap album, like I'm rapping on most of it. And I mean rapping, because we've heard Drake rap before, right? So I was sort of excited for that, because I'm like, okay, I prefer the singing, but maybe it's time. Maybe it's time he plants his flag in the rap category. Like, boom, there go the rap album. It's fire. But it really wasn't. He had done so much better before. To me, a lot of the production was like, I don't know. It was just, to me, it just felt boring and forced in some ways, right? Like typically with Drake's albums, what makes me like him is I never know what to expect. But what I can expect is just that he was going to express himself as an artist with the production, with the lyrics, with the chosen features and the beats. It was always going to be a collage, so to speak. So I didn't know if it would be heavy singing or heavy rapping or more singing on this one or more rapping or a house record or a damn near slow jams album, whatever. That's what I like about Drake. That's what I like about Kendrick Lamar, right? You just don't know what they're going to give you. And that's what makes it exciting, especially when it's good. And I remember hearing rumors about Scorpion being a little bit more on the rapidy rap side. And I was like, okay. But I heard God's Plan and I was like, well, I hope it isn't just this, like, this sound only. And it wasn't. But I just think at the end of the day, I walked away from that album feeling like, something about it. Like the singing is kind of lazy, because when you go back and listen to some of the early joints where he was singing, man, sometimes you didn't even know it was the same dude, right? And I'm not talking like he's some great singer, because he is not at all. But he could do a little something that can live with most of today's popular singers. But he's not in front of anybody, if you ask me, but he's not bad to me, listening wise. I just felt like it was all off. And if I had to say, well, what's the wackest album in his catalog, I don't know if I would call it whack, but if we're going to call it that, yeah, when I think about it, this is probably the one album that I could care less if I hear it again. It's just facts. So there you have it. What do you think about some of these stories, right? Diddy paying $5,000 to Sting per day bars. Do you care? How do you feel about that? Were you there, right? Because I know some of y'all on social media, you know more than everybody else. So were you in the room when it was when the deal was struck? Let us know in the comment section below. Bars. I'm getting heavy with the bars today. It's Poetry Month. I can't help it. Also, what do you think about Scorpion? If you've heard it, if you like Drake, is it the wackest album in his catalog? I don't know. You tell me. And lastly, is Joe Budden the number one hip hop personality? It can't be if I'm in the game, but let me know in the comment section below. You can subscribe to this YouTube channel. Salute to everybody that subscribed and helped me hit that 300 mark. I think I'm at 305. To me, I'm like, let's get to 500. Might as well keep building. I'm going to keep building these episodes. But also, if you don't watch YouTube and you're like, hey, I'm an OG from the podcasting era, I only listen on your favorite podcasting apps. Yep, you can do that. Just search your favorite podcasting app, type in the word Hip Hop Now Podcast, hit subscribe, and stay locked into weekly hip hop content. And don't forget, this Saturday, April 8th at 4 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook, I'm going to do a live stream review, the final episode of Wu-Tang and American Saga. It's a series finale, the show not coming back. And you will be my guest. Yes, you'll be in the chat room. I'll put your tweets up. I'll put your comments up. We'll talk about it in a nice space. I'll probably have a drink. If you're going to drink water, that's cool too. I don't care. But stay locked in. And if all of that didn't really make sense, just look in the description. There's all kinds of links to everything I'm talking about. Until next time, y'all, I am not a critic, I'm a fan. Peace.